interview with my mom and dad, and it's taking place on May 6, 1995. And what we're going to do is interview Mr. and Mrs. Tankrell, and we're going to see what they have to say. You ready, Dad?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
What's your full name?
Robert L. Tankwell.
What's the L?
11 Edgewater Drive.
What?
Blackstone, Mass. Yeah, it's for Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis.
And who is Lewis?
Came from my grandfather, Louis Barad.
Okay, good.
On my mother's side.
How old are you?
I'm 69.
69 years old, huh?
69, that's right. I'm going to be 70 next birthday.
Yeah, well, good. You can count, too. That's a plus. When and where were you born?
Born in Blackstone, Massachusetts.
Where?
Where? Rabbit Street. Right, Blackstone, Mass.
Radford Street.
On March 1st, 1926.
1926.
Yeah.
And you weren't born in the hospital. You were born in the
Born at the house.
Born at the house.
Those days, they didn't go to the hospital. Stay at the house.
What nationality are you?
French Canadian.
French Canadian.
Yeah.
From Quebec, right?
No.
Province?
No. Saint-Hyacinthe. Yeah, Quebec.
In the province of Quebec. Thank you.
My father came from there, not me.
That was your nationality. That's the Canadian French. That's where the Canadian came from.
French Canadian, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did you have, and what were their names? Start from the first one.
I had 5 brothers, that would be. Lou, Leo, Morris, Neil, Frank, Vicky, and one sister, Foley.
Are they all still living?
No. Leo died from that. Frank died of cirrhosis of the liver a few years back. Foley died about 3 years ago. That's it, 3 of them.
What was your mother's maiden name?
Mother's maiden name is Barad. B-E-R-A-R-D.
What was her first name?
Florence.
Did you know her middle name?
No.
What was your father's name?
Father's name was Romeo.
Romeo.
Romeo Tankrell.
Romeo Tankrell. Do you know when he was born?
Romeo Joseph. I know
His middle name?
That's where he was born. I'll tell you, you can figure it out. He died in 1952. 1950, he was 52. So that makes it 1898, I guess, right?
1898.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And what was your father's occupation?
He was Forrest Carpenter at the American Rubber Company, Social Street. Those days, it's all been changed. There's no more mill over there.
Did he work there all his life that you know of?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know that.
And you were born on Rathbun Street?
Yeah.
And you lived there for how long?
For a year or two in the most.
And then where did you move?
Edgewater Drive.
Edgewater Drive?
Yep.
Did your father build the house you moved in?
No. I don't think so, no.
Did your grandfather?
Grandfather.
Your grandfather, what was his name?
Nazai.
Nazai?
Nazai.
Nazai?
Yeah.
And that was your father's father?
Father's brother. Father, yeah.
Father's father. And lived on Edgewater Drive?
Right, Edgewater Drive.
Until you got married?
Yeah, sure. Till I got back. I spent 2 years in Woonsocket, and I moved back on Edgewater Drive. I've been there since.
And your mother was
69 years, that's, well, 67 years on that water drive.
67 years on Edgewater Drive, huh? And what was your mother's nationality?
French Canadian.
French Canadian. Your father too? Your father was French Canadian.
Yeah.
Do you know if your father was born here or was he born in Canada?
Canada.
Your father was born in Canada. And your mother was born where?
Blackstone.
In Blackstone. What was your mother's father and mother's name? Do you remember your grandparents?
Mother's father was Louis Barad. Her mother, I don't know.
Don't know what her name.
My grandfather had 3 wives, and I never seen the first one, which was my brother's mother. I only knew the last one.
And your mother had how many brothers and sisters?
Oh, 5.
Okay.
1, 4 sisters and 2 brothers.
What about your father? How many brothers and sisters do you have?
3 brothers. 2, 3 sisters.
Your father had 3 brothers and 3
Yeah.
sisters.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school when you started school?
St. Teresa's School.
And you went to St. Teresa's School for how long?
Oh, 5, 6, 7.
And then you went to what school?
Went to public school.
I like this one. Why'd you go to public school?
Because of those days, like
And what time did the St. Teresa's get out?
St. Teresa would get out 4:30 in the afternoon, and the public school would get out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had an hour and a half to pray.
So you went to public school to get out of school earlier.
School, yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's good. That's good.
Nothing wrong with that.
What grade did you go up to?
I graduated from the 7th grade.
And what did you do after that?
I went to work. 60. I was almost 60. I had 2 more months to go. I quit school and went to work in a bakery.
You worked at what bakery?
Martinelli's Bakery on Davin Street.
How much money did you make a week?
At that time, I was working 6 days a week, making $6 a week.
$6 a week, huh? $1 a day.
Just about,
And
worked about 60 hours, so that's 10 cents an hour.
10 cents an hour, huh? Did you get to keep any of that money?
That's just a couple of dollars, that's it.
You gave the rest to your parents.
Yeah. Couple of dollars, take my girlfriend home, that's it.
Yeah. And how long did you work there? You remember?
About a year and a few months.
And then what'd you do?
Then I joined the service.
What branch of the service did you join?
They
Where'd you go for basic training?
joined our jump for baker training. I
Yeah.
didn't go to baker training.
Basic training.
Oh, basic training. Basic training. I went to Sampson, New York.
What year did you join?
January 11th, 44.
January 11th, 44. You went into the Navy. And after basic training, you went where?
On the board ship, aircraft carrier, USS Anchor, CV-19.
Where at? Where was it?
Quincy, Mass.
And that was a new ship, right?
Brand new ship.
Brand new ship. And then where did you go from there?
Then we went South Pacific.
What was your mission?
2 years.
Oh.
2 years we was South Pacific. Till the war ended.
What was your mission when you first went out
What was the
for the
mission?
ship? South Pacific to do what?
They were the Japanese. Second battle of the Philippines, Okinawa, French Indochina, Tokyo Bay.
And what did you do on the ship when you first went on?
Oh, they put me in the engine room, guys. I didn't like that.
No?
Finagled things, and I got into the bakery. That's where I should have went at first.
Why did you like the bakery so much?
Because I could eat all I want. And we're friends with the cooks and bakers. Cooks said, give me steak. I gave them cake. That's the way to go.
What was your battle station?
Battle station with a 20 millimeter topside. 20 millimeter. A 20 millimeter loader.
Loader.
Cartridge loader.
You loaded the shells into the cartridge, right?
Right. The cartridge. So the cartridge said, to the gunner and let him. He gave it. And what?
What did you like most about the Navy?
I don't know, the food.
The food?
I plenty of food.
What did you dislike most about the Navy?
It wasn't that bad. I just liked it.
Taking orders, telling you?
Yeah, taking orders one thing, but they get used to it after a while.
Okay. When did you meet your wife?
Oh, we didn't finish the thing after the South Pacific there went through 11 battles.
You went through 11 battles.
3 typhoons. What's a typhoon?
What's a typhoon?
A typhoon is like a hurricane out at sea. With waves 30, 40 feet high.
Yeah?
Go right over the ship. That's rough duty.
What do you remember about the battles? What comes to your mind? Which ones and what happens?
What's one of his job dropped his bomb about 10 feet away from me, but it's a good thing it went in the waters that exploded right where it was. That thing would have exploded, I wouldn't be here today.
You were 10 feet away from that shell and put a hole right through the deck.
Steel. That's right. Right through the steel.
And it didn't explode.
It exploded just below. Must have delayed fuse in it. You have about 10, 15 seconds. They drop it, make a hole, then they wait and move it into stuff. So after you scare that, right? So anyway, when World War II ended.
World War II ended when?
August of 45. When they signed the treaty, Emperor Hirohito and General Douglas MacArthur signed the treaty in Tokyo Bay. I was there. Aboard my ship. All the aircraft carriers and battleships and everything. All in Tokyo Bay. That was a great day.
Great day, huh?
Yeah. The war was over.
The war was over and you could go home?
All right.
The war was over and you could go home.
No, August, pretty much. It took me 9 months. 9 months. I didn't get out till May 16th, 46.
Where did you go after they signed the treaty?
So we come back home, we had Liberty. 30-day leave. Then we went back on the ship. Went to the Philippines and picked up 5,000 passengers.
The Marines?
Marines. Brought them back home. Used the ship as a troop ship. Bring these guys back.
What day did you get out of the Navy?
May 16th, 1946.
And why was that day significant?
God, it was my girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah, what was her name?
The little Blanche, call her Blanche.
Blanche?
Yeah, last name was Karen.
Yeah?
My girlfriend. Yeah.
How did you meet her?
I met her on the ice over there.
Where over
Off
here?
gas pond. She was 14, no, 15. Yeah, 14.
And how did you get to skate with her? How did that? What was the deal on that?
Skate with her. Made a bet with her. The other guy bet me and I wouldn't skate with her. Put me a nickel.
Pay you a nickel, you wouldn't skate with her, huh?
Yeah. So I did skate with her and I made a nickel. I've been paying ever since.
Yeah. So you met her when she was 15, so she wrote to you when you were in the Navy then, and you wrote to her and all that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what did you do for entertainment when you were growing up? You didn't have a TV? Didn't have a phone?
Yeah, phone.
You had a phone.
Oh, yeah, we had a phone.
Okay.
What do I do? Play games. Still play Piggy. Still play Piggy.
What's that?
That's a great game. You take a a handle,
Yeah.
you sharpen it, stop, and you cut a little piece about that long, and it's sharpened on both ends, and you make a ring, and you play with the other guy. You gotta bag out it and hit it as far as you can. The guy's gotta go get it, throw it in the ring. If he gets it in the ring, it's just there. So that's what anyway, it's one of those things.
Did a lot of ice skating in the winter?
Oh yeah, that's what we used to do. We used to and the summertime, get out of school, take the shoes off. You don't put them back on until September when you go to school.
No shoes, huh?
Shoes also.
Go swimming?
Swimming, yeah, fishing, swimming. Put the shoes on just to go to church. I couldn't afford barefoot. I was scared. You had a hole in your shoe, you just put a piece of cardboard
Yeah.
inside, that's it.
Did you ever go on family vacations with your family?
Yeah. We used to go. Nantasket Beach, lots of times.
Okay, so when you got out of the Navy, on your sweetheart's birthday, it was May 16th,
16.
1945?
16. That's 46.
46. 1946. So when did you ask her to marry you?
See, that's me. That's good. A couple of days when I was home, when I came home.
So when did you get married?
7 weeks later.
You got married and you got out of the Navy in 46 and you got married in 46.
46, and I got married in July 6th, 46.
Well, that was quick.
Right? June, July.
7 weeks, huh?
So, that's about it.
About it. How many kids did you have?
I know.
How many did you want when you got married?
12.
12?
Yeah. I had 9 living, 2 miscarriages, and the other one never came.
So when you got out of the Navy, where did you go work?
I went back to the bakery.
Back to the bakery. How much were you making then?
Oh, that did, he raised it up $35 a week.
$35 a week, huh?
Because that was bad. People wouldn't.
When you got married, where did you live?
We lived a 3-room apartment on Winthrop Street, Woonsocket. Lived there for 3 years.
And then you moved where?
On Edgewater Drive and then here starts.
Moved down Edgewater Drive back to the house that you were living in with your parents, but on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And you lived there for how long? That was 1946 you got married?
49, I think we moved there.
49? When did you start building the house at 11 Edgewater Drive?
Mother died in
50.
1950.
You started the,
Started digging it.
and when did you complete it?
Oh, I let it go for a couple of years after my father died, and I finished it. We moved in Christmas of 54.
Christmas of 54.
Christmas week.
And how did your father die?
Father died out of that.
In his car?
Yeah.
Where at?
At the mill. Got out of the mill at 4 o'clock, and this guy died. Out of that, I found him at 6 o'clock.
And how did your mom die?
Mom died of lung cancer.
You know what year she died?
Oh yeah, all right, 75.
1975? We're gonna have Mommy come in now. Hi, Dad.
Hello.
Both ends.
That's a good shot of you. Okay, it's your turn now, Mom. We're gonna go through this with you.
Go ahead.
Okay. What is your full name?
Blanche L. Kingston.
L stands for what?
Loretta.
Were you named after anybody?
My mother's sister was Loretta.
Was your middle name?
Loretta.
Loretta.
Yeah.
Where and when were you born?
I was born in Woonsocket, in Diamond Hill Road.
What year?
May 16, 1926.
1926.
Same year as Dad.
Same year as Dad, huh?
Only a month difference from my sweetie pie.
What's your mother's full name?
Helen. Rita.
Helen
Photo.
Dura was her maiden name,
Yes, but I don't know her middle.
which is Duran, right?
Duran Carey, yes.
And your father's name?
Clovis Carey.
Do you know where your mother was born?
She was born in Gentry, Canada, province of Quebec.
And do you know where your father was born?
My father was born in Woonsocket on East School Street, October 17, 1903.
And you said where you went, what the date your mother was born?
December 11, 1903.
So you lived on, when you were born, you lived on East School Street?
No, my father was born
Your
in
father was born on, you were,
I was born on Diamond Hill.
and how long did you live there?
Well, when I was about a few months old, my mother took me to Canada and left me at my aunt for 4 years.
Your aunt who?
Aunt Cassidy Door and Uncle Robert. So
Was that in the time of the Depression?
that was the time of the Depression, and my father was very sick. There was no money. They couldn't afford it. My brother stayed with my grandparents in Canada for 4 years. He was a year and a half to me. So we were both over there.
So after, what, you were 4 years old, and had you
No.
seen,
I came back home at 5 years old.
you came back home at 5 years old, your mother went to pick you up?
Yep, My mother came to pick me up, and I didn't even know her, and I didn't want to go with her. I was very rebellious, and I came to be a very bitter child because of that. That's why I understand when kids are taken away from their parents, how they feel.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 2 brothers and 1 sister.
And their names?
Andy, which passed away a few years ago. I don't remember the date. And Al, he was born August 3rd, 1927. And Georgette, which was born 5 years later, October 7th, I guess 1931, I believe.
Do you know what your grandparents' names were?
I really don't know.
So, where did you go to school?
I went to school at St. Louis. I started school at St. Louis, which is on Privilege Street and George Street. And then we moved to Shacktown, which is in East Woonsocket now. No, what is it called now? Shacktown.
Oak Grove.
Oak Grove, yeah. And we lived there 2 years. I went to a public school. I was in the 3rd grade, and because I didn't know English, they put me back in the 2nd grade. Because I was in the same grade as my brother, and I was back, a year back from him. And then we went to St. Anne's School. And then I went back to St. Louis, and that's where I graduated from the 9th grade. And then I went to St. Clair, which is on Carrington.
And where were you living? When you came back from Canada, you were living where? With your parents?
On Diamond Hill.
On Diamond Hill, and then you moved to
Oak Grove.
Oak Grove?
Yeah.
And were you living there when you graduated from high school?
No, I was living on Privilege Street.
So you moved from Oak Grove to Privilege Street.
We moved from Oak Grove to Hebert Avenue. I went to St. Anne's School, that's right. I forgot about that. And for a few years, and from St. Anne's, we moved to Privilege Street. So I went to St. Louis and graduated from there.
What year did you graduate?
1915.
40.
1940?
2.
1942.
Right.
Well, when I was 15,
It would be 41.
yeah, 1941. Okay, we got it now. And then I did the same thing as Dad. I went to work. It was about 6 weeks before I was 16, and they were asking me for my birth certificate, and I kept stalling until I was.
Only went to the 9th grade.
Then I went 3 months to St. Clair, but I had to go to work after that because I had to stay home after that because my mother wasn't working. My father was sick. I had to do the washroom. So, 6 weeks before 16, I went to work.
What was your father's occupation? What did he do for work?
He worked in the mill, running the machine. What? He worked in the mill.
And your mother?
My mother worked in that bunny spinning.
When they're spinning what?
She was a spinner.
Which is?
Well, it's hard to explain.
It has to do with textiles?
Textile.
She's spinning wool or spinning,
Spinning wool.
was it wool? Yeah.
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 So, how long did you work Where did you work when you got out of school? You stayed home and you said you had to go to work.
Wool waste sorter. It was raw wool from the sheep, and we had to sort them out. Take all the stickies and everything out of it. I worked there 6 months ago. Then I went and worked in the textile mill. I wasn't there.
And you worked there till
Till even after we got married, I worked a couple of years.
what nationality are you?
French Canadian.
And your mother and your father were born.
My mother was
Where?
born in Canada. My father was born in Woonsocket. He died in
So you got married on when?
July 6, 1946.
And you had your first baby when?
May 29, 1947.
And what was her name?
Suzanne Lawrence. Lawrence is Dad's mother's name.
And then you had another baby when?
June 10th, 1948. That was Janine, Aline. Aline is my mother.
Keep going because you have a bunch more to say. So go ahead and go through all your kids. You're at 2 now.
I had another baby May 14, 1948. That was Marcel Robert. Named after Dad. So. Then I had a miscarriage after that. And 2 years after, Helen was born September 29, 1951. And Robert was born November 30. Is that 30 or 31 days in October? The last day of October, anyway, 1952.
What was Helen's middle name?
Helen Lena.
Lena?
Lena.
And Robert's?
Robert Francis. It was named after Dad's brother. Right. Then there was another. In 1955, Louise was born. I believe it's 1955. July 29, 1955. No,
July 30th.
July 30. Oh, the other one. Okay, now July 30, 1955. And then 3 years after was Anna. Anna Marie was born May 8, 1958.
So Louise was born in 56.
56. Yeah, I get all mixed up.
And Anna was born in 59.
59.
Anna Louise, what's her middle name?
Louise Marie. Anna is Anna Marie. And then in 1960, I had Lilly Monette. July 29, Louise said, why can't you wait till on my birthday when you to have your baby, Mom? Oh, well, I wish I could have waited. I did wait. And then December 1st, 1961, Eugene Lewis. Lewis's dad's middle name was born. And then no more came.
Thank God.
What happened, I don't know, but number came. Well, yeah, I didn't say about miscarriage I had after Louise, right?
Right.
That was bad. They had to take me by ambulance to the hospital. So,
Right.
go on.
So what do you remember about the kids growing up and stories about things that happened when the kids were growing up?
Well, it's hard to say. I remember from Suzanne when she first started school, what a joy it was, for me, my first baby, starting to go to school, I couldn't her up. She went to school. But before she went to kindergarten, Janine and Martha went to kindergarten. And they had to walk way up to St. Louis. They were only 5 years old. I think of it now, huh? You wouldn't let a kid go walking like that now.
No, you sure wouldn't.
I'd walk up to the end of the road and I'd watch them go down. Then when they come back, I'd be walking and I was waiting for them at the end of the Carter, wherever the corner coming, watching them back.
So when you got married, were you working?
Yes, I was working. Daddy never wanted me to go to work, but stubbornly, I said, yeah, I'm gonna go to work. Go to build a home.
Dad, where were you working when you got married?
At the bakery,
You were at the bakery? How long did you stay there?
couple of years, maybe.
Yes, and then you went to work at home cold.
Oh, no.
No, for
No,
sure.
that's before that. I mean, before I went on the service.
Really?
So when you got married, you were working at the bakery.
Yeah.
And then where did you go to work?
Sure, who remembers?
I do believe you went to home cold, and then you got laid off, and then Mr. Bacon came over the house one day,
Yeah, I went in the mill, yeah.
and he asked, well, my uncle's brother-in-law had told him that Dad was out of work, right, and we were struggling, so Mr. Bacon came up the house and offered him a job at the mill.
What mill was that?
Why not, no.
The Glenark, I was working
Glenark
there.
Mill?
Yeah.
You were working there?
So he went to work in the stock room.
You worked there for how long?
They go over them. No, I don't know.
Yeah, till they closed. That was, well, must have been 8 months.
Let's see, 1950.
What a night.
I don't remember.
And then where'd you go to work after that, Dad?
Work with his brother.
Especially, yeah. Went on construction, yeah. Like that,
And you worked there?
yeah, for 5 years.
And then where did you work?
After construction, I went to another construction company, Lafayette Construction. And after that, I went to National Fabrics.
National Fabrics?
Inside, that's a maintenance man.
You worked there for
14 years.
14 years. And then where'd you go?
Then I had to get out of there, and I went to Tupperware for a year. I was there a year and a half. I only worked 7 or 8 months, I guess. I got sick. Then I went on disability.
And that was
19, 74.
1974.
Must be 74, April 5th, 1974, when my last day worked.
And you went on disability because what happened to you?
Because of an eye problem. Skin condition I got while I was in the service. I got into my eyes and all kinds of problems.
So you got the skin condition in the service,
Yeah,
and you went into the hospital in the service
Yeah.
for it.
yeah,
And you were in the hospital on shift,
yeah.
and you were in the hospital.
Long Beach, California, and San Pedro, California. That's it.
What did they diagnose it as?
What did they diagnose your skin condition as?
Atopic dermatitis. Figure that out. So this is skin condition.
And you didn't have it before you went in, right? Did you used to take your family, your all 9 kids, on vacation?
Oh, yes, we did. I remember one time, Eugene was only a baby, and we went to Canada, up to my aunt's house with us we doing. She had only 4 little rooms, but she was so glad to see us. We have movies of that. And we slept wall to wall, people, because we were 11, with Dad and I, and there were 4. There was 15. But you know, it was such a wonderful trip because the oldest one each had one to take care of. And there was no problem. We'd stop on the side of the road, eat our sandwich on the picnic table. Each one had their own to take care of. And we have pictures of that too.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful trip.
You used to go on vacation every summer?
Yeah. We like to go next to the water.
Used to go to Crystal Lake, Sebago Lake.
Yeah. Sebago Lake is a beautiful lake. We always had a beautiful cottage over there. Big cottage. Do you remember that? Oh, that was nice.
Yep. Rent the biggest house on the lake.
Well, they were all the big cottage there.
How many grandchildren do you have?
21. Want me to name them all? I won a prize on the cruise for naming them all.
Go ahead.
There's Harold, Donna, Jamie. Nikki, Michael, Ryan, Kevin, Melissa, Chelsea, Erica, Matthew, Angela, Chris, which is adopted, and Eric and Jennifer, Joshua, Dave, Aaron, Jeremy, Christopher, and Jacob. Was that 21?
I wasn't counting. You want to try it again?
It's not close enough.
But I can't count the great grandchildren.
You know, how many great grandchildren do you have?
10 or 11. Ryan's little boy.
Myself got 8 of them.
8. Kevin has 2.
Yeah.
Melissa has 2.
Nikki?
12,
Donna has 1.
Donna has 1.
Nikki?
13,
Nikki has 1.
14.
14 grandchildren.
14 great grandchildren.
Yeah. So when we get together, that's Friday. A lot of people.
Do you know when your father died?
My father died in January 1978.
And your mother?
My mother died. Wow, she only died 2 years ago, and I can't remember.
Um, it was September.
She died in September 1991.
91.
No,
82.
Oh, I just took it.
And one of my grandsons died in 1995, May 1995. No, April 30th, 1995. So what's the next question?
Next question is, when do we eat?
Getting hungry.
How was life when you were growing up? Explain how growing up as a kid was.
Growing up as a kid, I always lived on the third floor. No, I live on the second floor. But we had no yard, so we couldn't play in the yard, right? So we played jackstone on the floor, on the steps. We jumped rope on the sidewalk, catch on the side, play ball and catch on the sidewalk. And we were happy. You know, we were content. Now kids are always bored and they have all toys in the room they can get. Unbelievable.
What about building the house? Daddy and you built the house, right?
Oh, yes. This was quite a project.
How difficult was it?
And, well, we really were. Dad was working on the third shift. He was the hardest one. And he didn't have much sleep, and he lost a lot of weight. All he did was work, you know.
Work 11 to 7 at night. Come home, leave 8 o'clock. I'd be on the house till 4 o'clock.
And on top of building the house, how many children did you have to take care of?
We had 3 at the time, and I would take the kids in the house, even though there was no window. We would in the play yard, in the playpen, and in the carriage. And I feed them. We were trying to feed them, you know. So it was nice. When we build, his uncle helped us an awful lot.
Which one?
Uncle Meredith. He had bought Dad an old truck, and they took down a barn. And, right?
I bought the truck myself.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I bought that for me.
Oh.
$200. Steak body, 3/4. Down steak body truck.
You use it to haul all the stuff for your house? Or?
Yeah. I bought a barn in Franklin, 12 miles away. Took it all down on weekends. Nights, whatever. Brought it all home, stacked it all up, took all the nails out.
Oh, yes, that was one thing. I helped take nails out. And what happened, I stepped on a nail.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. They had to take that off. It was just bleeding. I hit a vein.
This house was built board by board. It wasn't a sheet of plywood and boom down. Every board, every board. Board on top of board.
What kind of wood was it?
It was good wood. It was good, nice and dry.
After all these years.
It was all wood standing with nail on the bottom, nail on top. Take that down.
Why'd you build a 2-story?
Well, that was my father's idea. You build a 2-story, have rent and and all that stuff.
And I was very upset about it because I just wanted a spot.
He wanted a cottage and I wanted two families, so we split, we got a two family.
You split, huh? 50-50, you got your two family, and she got her cottage on the bottom floor.
And bottom floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't easy, it wasn't easy. It's,
Anybody that builds a really works an awful lot in their house. You know what it is, you know. Eugene, you're doing that now.
What's helped you get through all the years?
uh,
What's helped you get through all these hard times and all these years that
yeah. I got much
Well, what happened for me, whenever there was hard time, I walked to church.
Okay, Mom.
yeah?
Good thing
So the Lord helped you through all these years,
he did.
and it wasn't very easy having 9 kids.
I remember many a time I just walked to church, sit there and look at the cross.
So your faith has brought you through everything.
And I'm so thankful for every day I thank the Lord because he had a purpose in our lives. I wasn't born again then, but I believe, you know, that that's where comfort and help has come. And then when I was born again, you know, today I praise him and I thank him every day.
So we gotta do. Be thankful for everything we have.
Oh, yeah, because there was hard time. I remember there wasn't any money. And Daddy had been out of work and there was no money. And I said, we're going to go to the town and get the food from them. And they'd give us a slip to go buy food. Daddy didn't want because he had a lot of pride, but we just needed it. We'd go and then at other times we went to the veterans and they'd give us a check and I'll go buy some money, some food. But it was always there. You know, the Lord said he'd take care of his own, and he always did. He always did. Then when Daddy got sick, we had insurance that we had taken with the house, and they made the payment for a couple of months. Remember that? The insurance paid the mortgage, and we had bought a car for my son because he was traveling to Boston to go to college. They paid the payment on the car because it was in our name. There was nothing. Now, you know, you kids can't buy that insurance. It's too expensive. You know, if you fall sick,
It's a risk insurance. It's still been buying it.
but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But see, we had all these opportunity and we took advantage of it. Daddy knew what he was doing.
And your kids never went hungry.
Never was hungry. Because there was always a way. And my father was good to tell us, to encourage us. He'd say, when there's a will, there's a way. And you know, if you ask, you'll get an answer. It's either yes or no, and that's what you have to accept. So, it really was great.
You used to make the kids' clothes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a big coat and I'd cut down a little coat. Cut it down to a little coat or a big dress that was given to us, all kind of clothes, and I cut it down to a little dress or something. And after my son, when I had that miscarriage, I had a breakdown. We went to live with my parents. We do in Canada. Suzanne lived with their mother. and mustangs I kept with me because I always had to hold on to something. But my mother and father took us in for 2 months. I lost 27 pounds. And I remember I just was choking. I wanted to throw water. Neil had come and see us over my mother, and I was sitting in a chair. Later on, he said, you know, you look just like a zombie. And I was just overtired because when Daddy was in the service, I worked 8 hours at the mill, and I worked 4 hours cleaning houses for the rich people. Because I was getting only $2 expensive out of my pay, and I wanted to save to get married. And I was lonely because he was away, and I'd write to him every day. He didn't tell you this, right? I'd write to him every day, even though it was 3-4 lines. And they had a contest on the ship. Who was going to get the most letters? They threw him out of the contest. He was getting a letter from every day. The mail wasn't delivered, but he was getting a letter from every day.
They threw him out. You didn't win, did you?
No.
No?
Oh, sorry.
I had a sore mouth. They prevent, I think, take any one of them because this way is stay sucking. And then I'd be way ahead of myself by the time I get the other one.
Do you write to her every day?
And I didn't know he had a contest, you know. I just, every day I thought of him like him.
And I started right every day.
So Jean stayed with our Eiffeldorf for how long?
4 months. And I would miss her so much. That's when I was there kind of without you. I wanted my baby.
She stayed there for 4 months,
Yeah.
and she was how old when she went there?
Must say was just, he wasn't a year old, right? That's right. It was 2 months after the Betanka had passed away that it happened.
1950.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we went and got her in January because, Marjorie and my son Lisa are the one that drove us down to go get her.
So she was only, when was she born?
She was a year and a half.
She was a year and a half when you brought her. And she was 2 when you brought her back.
Yeah. She would have been 2.
So she was just there for 4 months.
Right.
So then, where did you live after that?
And we went back home. It was a miracle. The doctor says it was a miracle that I got better in 4 months because I really was down and out. But, prayers are answered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any more stories to tell us?
That's about it, huh?
There's a lot more, but it's hard to think about more.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little bit of history of Mr. and Mrs. Tankrell. I hope that everybody who listens to this gets a little bit more understanding of your heritage.
Hello, this is Lilly, and it's June 10th, 1995. We have a couple of corrections to be made to this tape. Marcel's birthday was May 14th, 1949. Mom said it was 1948. That's the first correction. Helen's birthday is September 29th, 1952. Mom said 1951. Robert's birthday, she said October 31st, His birthday is October 31st, 1953. She said 52. Also, we have 2 more grandchildren to add. Louise's 2 other children, Jacob and Holly. Sadly, 26 days after this tape was made, Robert Louis Tankerel passed away on June 1st, 1995. We all loved him. God bless everybody.